Joining us now is my friend, Arizona Republican U.S. Senate candidate. There she is, Kari Lake. Kari, you know what? It's not Arizona weather there in Iowa. How could that affect everything?
Well, Iowans are tough, and I know that because I grew up here. This is my home state. And, you know, January is one of the coldest months here, and people are tough. They got the warm clothes, and they're ready to get out on Monday. And the enthusiasm for President Trump is off the charts right now. We know how the polling has looked for him, and people are going to show up. I mean, the support he has goes a mile deep. These other guys, the support they have goes an inch deep. And so if anyone's going to stay home because it's cold, it's going to be supporters of the other guys. But I have full faith that the folks here in Iowa understand that history will be made on Monday. They are going to start the trajectory of getting our country back on track and saving this great nation.
You know Iowa, as you pointed out, all too well. It's such a sort of folksy community where you go from caucus to caucus. They like to see the candidates. They like to get to know them. They, of course, know President Trump. Did that give him a tremendous advantage where we've seen some of the other candidates like DeSantis doing the, quote, full Grassley and going to every single county? But he has a long way to go, as we've even seen in the latest polls. Is that connection that President Trump already had walking in the door clearly helping him this go round too?
The people of this state love President Trump. They really do. They know what he did for them during his 4 years as president. In 3 years, he brought this state more than 22,000 new jobs, more than half of them in manufacturing. Conversely, Biden lost this state a couple thousand jobs. So they know that he helped make ethanol a year-round fuel, and actually was helpful in making us energy independent. They know that he had the courage, the spine to take on the CCP in China, which was doing so much damage to the Iowa economy, and he had the courage to take them on. He got rid of the estate tax that was preventing family farms from staying in the family. He's done so much for this beautiful state, and there's a relationship and a love that Iowa has with President Trump. He doesn't have to hit every 99 county, and besides, with all the witch hunts they're throwing at him in 4 different jurisdictions, the people of this state understand that the election interference at a national level is really high with President Trump. And that's why we've got surrogates here, such as myself and many others, who are happy, more than happy, to stand up and speak out for our favorite president, just like the folks on caucus night will be doing. They stand up and they give their stump speech for their favorite president, President Donald Trump.
And Kari, you look at some of the latest polls, you know the numbers all too well. He has a really impressive lead right now. There it is, 52.2%. I know, look at that. Ahead of Nikki Haley, as you can see at this one, 18.4%. For the other ones, you see DeSantis there, you see Ramaswamy, of course, Chris Christie dropped out. But some of his voters, of course, may go to Haley. Who knows where they go? How do you see this going for some of the other candidates? How much of a do or die is it really for a Nikki Haley or a DeSantis to exceed expectations for them?
Well, I think the greatest victory we've ever seen historically in Iowa since 1972 in the caucus, when there's been a crowded field, is a 12-point victory. I think President Trump will surpass that. But we can't go out and act like it's going to be a blowout and we don't show up. So that's one thing I worry about. We've got to get out there. Iowa, you've got to get out there and show up. Just assume it's a 1-point victory and get out there and show up. I think the surprise could be that Vivek Ramaswamy might actually do better than one of these others. Perhaps he comes in 3rd place over DeSantis. Who knows? I mean, that's where I think a surprise might be in the position of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and so on. And so, but the real polling that I'm looking at is in the general election. And Haley and DeSantis cannot beat Joe Biden. Can you imagine that? They can't beat Joe Biden in the polling. And there is one man who can, and that is Donald J. Trump. And we know that Donald J. Trump can do the job because he did it well. And that we've got to keep the eye on the prize, which is getting President Trump back in the White House, turning this nightmare around that Joe Biden and his corrupt cronies in D.C. have gotten us into, and making America and Iowa great again.